Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. My salutations to Swami Vivekananda, who is best among the monks, who descended on this earth to redeem the difficulties of the mankind, whose spiritual radiance is equal to thousands of suns. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, today we are having an interesting topic based on practical Vedanta. We have come at the end of the talk. What did Vedanta bring the change in me, or what change did Vedanta bring in me? It is very interesting topic, and at the practical Vedanta last lecture, fourth lecture, he discusses how the Vedanta, when it is being used, the application of Vedanta, how it can bring a change. And first and foremost, he tells elsewhere very beautifully, we all know that Swami Vivekananda is the spiritual dynamo. And when we study his life, he had to face a lot of struggles, never mind, but he achieved a lot. And people do follow him. And many times we may think, can we become like him? Or achieve maybe some portion of his achievement. Such type of things, such type of desires or ideas, we do get it, no doubt. And is it possible? Well, many of us we think may not be possible because he's such a great exemplary, great personality. It is not possible for us to become like Swami Vivekananda. But Swami Vivekananda was different in his approach or in his teachings. He said very emphatically and very clearly that yes, you can also become like me. Like me means not exactly like me, means you can also achieve your target, achieve your goals, or you can also achieve whatever you wish. And this is the greatness and this is the beauty of all the great people. They say, you can also become like me, no doubt. And Swami Vivekananda was also one among the best men. He says, if you think really, you can also become like me. So when I say like me, what does it mean? You can also become like uh, embodiment of spirituality, embodiment of bliss or completeness. And how is it this possible? Swami Vivekananda himself gives a way or a solution for us. If you can think that infinite power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy lies within you. And if you can bring out that power, you can also become like me. See, first and foremost, he's telling you can also become like me. Fine. But terms and conditions apply. What is that? If you can think that infinite power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy lie within you, and you can bring that power out. So we have to manifest that power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy. That is what called self or Atman or Brahman or consciousness or whatnot. The moment when we get that self-confidence, that I am that self is signs of infinite possibilities. I can do anything and everything. The moment when I get confidence in that, I can do anything and everything. I would like to become a celebrity. Yes, possible. I would like to become millionaire. Possible. I would like to become a good athlete. Possible. I would like to become a good chef. Possible. Or chef, sorry. Possible. When you get a confidence in yourself, not my parents has got a confidence in me, or husband or wife or children or colleagues. No, when I get confidence on myself, I can become the great personality. That's what Swami Vivekananda is saying, and that's what Vedanta even teaches. What Vedanta helps us, it removes the ignorance, it removes the wrong notion, it removes all our limitations mentally or intellectually, and it shows how what not or what is possible for you. Well, now when we hear such dialogues or when we hear such teachings, it is very good. Momentarily, we get inspired. Momentarily, we get, what do you say, motivated. But is it really possible in our life to achieve this? Yes. So I can give n number of examples like this. For example, just for privacy reason, I would like to keep her name confidential. So a Western lady, she explains that by studying Vedanta, she is a Western lady and by a Christian faith, she says that by studying Vedanta, what did it help me? By studying Advaita Vedanta, the non dualistic philosophy, she says, it helped me to transcend the dualities by understanding the subject. I am that subject. No, it's a very interesting observation. She says, by understanding that I am the subject, not the object, it helped me. It helped me to transcend the dualities. Now, in our life, from our birth to death, whatever we may, either you are a millionaire or a celebrity, or you are a mediocre person, or you are from poor background, whatever it may be, all of us, we will have the dualistic experiences, good and bad, right and wrong, happiness and sorrow, profit and loss, whatnot, success and failure. All these things are bound to come. We all know that. But they are also bound to go also. This to go, we forget. They are bound to come and they are bound to go. They are not eternal in our life, in everyone's life. We all think, oh, because he's a millionaire or she's a billionaire, she's okay. But in my case, it is not so. But when we put ourselves into their shoes, then we will understand they have got their own problems, challenges, difficulties, and whatnot. So, this a basic understanding itself is a very important for all of us. Krishna tells beautifully in Bhagavad Gita, Matra sparshastha kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama paino nitya anitya tanti tikshasva varata. O Arjuna, when the senses come into contact with sense objects, hot and cold, happiness and sorrow, and etc., they are bound to come and bound to go, and they are not eternal. Just forbear, endure. This is what one of the teaching given by Krishna to Arjuna. Of course, this holds good for all of us. Now we have to endure the difficulties, no doubt. Otherwise, just will be complaining personalities. Now we may endure out of helplessness. What to do? I mean, my fate is like this, or God is not compassionate enough, or I am not lucky person, etc. I may endure out of helplessness, like a slavish mentality, we can say. That's the first step we all do. And the second is what to do. These are bound to come and bound to go. So we are accepting the natural truth, universal truth, and we act, and but we don't react. This is what she is telling. By understanding the subject, I transcended all the dualities. Means they are bound to come and they are bound to go. So she is not disturbed. That's how the Vedanta brought a change. Advaita Vedanta brought a change in that particular lady's life. So the moment we understand, we put into practice, it is not that world will change. It is not that people will change. It is not that situations will change, but my reactions and my sufferings will reduce or they will not. They will change. That's what the Buddha has told beautifully, the same idea in a different language. This too shall pass. This too shall pass is a beautiful word. Now, when we hear, especially quite a few people come for counseling, when I say, don't worry, you've got some problems, difficulties, this too shall pass, Buddha's statement you remember. Yes, it brings a solace for them, at least at that moment. They feel very happy, this too shall pass. So that means this difficulty, problem, worries, sorrow will go away. They understand, they accept. So this is the one part of the truth. The other part of the truth is when the situations are favorable to me, when everything is okay to me, then also can you think or can I think this too shall pass? Then we say, oh no, Vedanta, let it be aside. Not now. This is what problem for all of us. First and foremost, we are bound and we are getting tossed between all these dualities. So slowly, when your mind get refined, your intellect get refined, then you will understand, okay, the problems that day Swamiji said, this too shall pass, the problems will go away. So this is the one more step, one more development. So there little more Vedanta has been understood as put into practice. Fine. Then even at the favorable circumstances, when external worldly happiness when things are there. Even at that moment, if you think this too shall pass, then you will transcend the dualities. That's what that particular lady said. Then obvious question will come: is it not insensitivity? And it's a bland life, isn't Swamiji? Okay, when problems comes, this too shall pass. Okay, and when happiness comes, favorable things comes, this too shall pass. If I think, then life will become very bland. My Gurudev used to take the food. I mean, it is very interesting actually, because of his health or whatever. The doctors had prescribed so many grams of potato, so many grams of carrot, so many grams of lady's finger and all. So they used to boil and they used to paste and give. First time I was not aware of this. As out of, I mean, respect and faith, we asked the Swamiji who to look after, please give us whatever is leftover food as a prasad. He gave a small teaspoon of food. Then we said, no, Swamiji, I want more. Then he said, first you taste it. If you want, I will give. But I was bit saying, no, no, if people, other disciples may take away. Then I took a larger portion of the food. Then first lick I had, afterwards I miss. I mean, as a reflex action, my, I mean, face and eyes got crumbled. Said, "What this type of food Gurudev eats?" Then the Swamiji said, "From 2 or 3 decades, Gurudev is enjoying this food and he is eating this food." Then he said, "How is it possible? It doesn't have any sour, not bitter, not sweet, not chili spices, anything. It is a bland food. How can he enjoy?" So he is taking the food as a medicine or a fuel for his body. So he had transcended the dualities. That's what he was not bothered. So many days when we spoke with him, when we were experiencing, when we spent some time with our teacher or Gurudev, he was always happy. He was with full of zest at the age of 90, eating that type of plain, bland food. How? Because he had transcended that, the physical level or dualities, you can say. So the second is only we take off portion. When problems are there, this too shall pass, we will take. But when the favorable circumstances comes, we will think this too shall pass, will not be possible. When you accept both, then what happens? It is not the state of insensitivity. It is not the state of blandness or blankness. It is the state of complete bliss. So this is what she said. When I studied Vedanta, when I understood, when I started putting into practice, it helped me to transcend the dualities and by understanding the subject, who am I? So what Vedanta can bring the change? We are all busy in changing the world, people, situations in and around us. So we will stop that probably. I will start getting change. I will try to change myself so that I can be happy at all given at all given time. That's what the Vedanta can bring that change. In that sense, Swamiji said, if you can think that infinite power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy lie within you, and if you can bring out that power, you can also become like me. So, whoever wish to become like Swami Vivekananda, then definitely you can try this, and we can try this. And Swami Vivekananda, one more interesting point Swami Vivekananda says in the Vedanta series, that never say, I cannot. Because the moment when we hear such type of good or a great ideas, yeah, maybe it is possible to Swami Vivekananda, it may be possible to XYZ, and some of us we feel may not be possible for us. But Swami Vivekananda says immediately, never say no, never say I cannot, never say no, never say I cannot, for you are infinite. All the power is within you. You can do anything and everything. Again, such a great truth Swami Vivekananda is saying. So when we can put this into practice, then definitely success in every walk of life, it is quite easy, and it may not be easy, it is quite possible. How Swami Vivekananda faced a lot of struggles, and but still he achieved many things. How? Because he had a lot of confidence in such type of thoughts, in a high thinking. The same idea, the same idea was followed by a great person called Sudhanshu Bishwas. He's from South 24 Paraganas, West Bengal, basically in India, eastern part of India, and from West Bengal. Now, he was the great fan of Swami Vivekananda. He studied, so from his young age, he studied Swami Vivekananda's life, and especially service to man is service to God. He literally followed. And at the age of, when he was studying, when he was school in the class standard 7 or class 7, you say, he left studies just to participate in freedom fight. Those days freedom movement was going on. He he participated himself in freedom fighting, and he was chased by police, and he was shot even once. A bullet was hit for him, and he had to hide himself for his life and etc. And he was jailed and he was tortured in 5 years in Alipur. All these things, and he got a lot of problems, no doubt, but still he endured everything. So definitely, when we get such type of problems, such type of stock treatments, and such type of difficulties, we may become pessimistic. We may become complaining personalities, or we start thinking, "Oh, all these things are nonsense," and they will try to change their life, change their thinking direction. But the Sudhanshu Bishwas, he never changed. All of that, in spite of having all that, still he endured when he came out, and he started helping people and all. At the age of 60 years, imagine, at the age of 60, just to help the people in those days in the West Bengal, there was no medical treatment for villagers. So, at the age of 60, since he wanted to help the people, he learned homeopathy for himself, and he started practicing freely, giving homeopathy medicines for people. And he also started vocational training centers, and and he also started an ashrama, Ramakrishna ashrama in South 24 Paraganas. Later, it was affiliated to Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission. So when you see this, he had to face a lot of struggles, no doubt, but still he accepted everything, he endured everything, and he contributed so many things to the society. So instead of being a complaining personality, and instead of getting away from all these problems, he faced them and he got rise. He rised above all these things, and he did lot to the society. Even at the age of 97 or 98, he passed away. He did lot of service to the his state, and he was a Padma Shri award. And Sudhanshu Bishwas. So for him, service to God is, service to man is service to God is one thing, and anything and everything is possible if you feel that you are divine. These are the two mantras, these are the two formulas which brought a change in Sudhanshu Vishwas' life. So again, he's a common person like any one of us who has had from a mediocre family or whatever, but he brought a big change in his own place or in his own village. That's what we can say. How Vedanta can bring a change in our life. These are the few examples. And for this, Swami Vivekananda gives one more interesting point is human knowledge is not antagonistic to human well-being. On the contrary, it is the knowledge alone that will save us in every department of life. In knowledge is worship. The more we know, the better for us. So the Vedantist says the cause of all that is apparently evil is the limitation of the unlimited. The love which gets limited into little channels and seems to be evil eventually comes out at the other end and manifests itself as God. Again, what a magnanimous, what you say, a great statement or a emphatic statement made by Swamiji. Whatever you say, evil, it is only limited understanding of the self. Only if you go further, when you get explode yourself, or when you get improved yourself, then you will understand that it will turn into love, and that is called God. So the perception of oneself about the world and about the things can bring, everything gets changed by studying Vedanta according to Swami Vivekananda. By this particular statement, we can very well understand. Now, is there any example like this? Yes. Emma Calvey, she was a great opera singer in those days in US. And she was lost her only one daughter because of some reason. And obviously she went to depression. She went to probably she might have tried with counseling, I don't know, but she went to a lot of depression and almost she decided that she will end her life at that critical juncture where she was depressed and she wanted to get away from this life and she wanted to die. At that critical juncture, she met Swami Vivekananda. And Swami Vivekananda's life, Swami Vivekananda's teachings brought a big change in her, and it brought a lot of positivity, it brought a lot of energy and etc. Then she stopped thinking that she will end her life by suicide or whatever. Then afterwards, she became a contributor personality, and her life got changed. So from negative mindset, one can become positive. One can become from complaining personality or complaining mindset. One can become contributor personality or contributor mindset by studying Vedanta. That's where I always say studying Vedanta brings a lot of changes. And one more example I can give is Anna Hazare. In recent days, in the name of ahimsa, if here someone has brought the big change or a great impact in India, if you say, he's called Anna Hazare, a great person. This Anna Hazare, when he was young, for some reason he was also under depression. He thought he will end his life by suicide again. He will go to his. He was working in a particular city and he wanted to go back to village and he wanted to hang himself there. Then fine, he decided and he came back to the railway platform and or a train. I mean to catch the train to go back to his village. Then he was waiting for a train. Then he thought, somehow he thought, before ending my life, let me end my life with a good thought so that I will get a better life. Then he nearby bookstall was there in the railway platform. Then he saw 10 or 15 paisa in those days. He bought a small book on life and teachings of Swami Vivekananda. That is Vivekananda's Call to the Nation. So he purchased it and he kept it in his pocket. Then when the train came, he got into the train. And just in the traveling time, he started reading that small booklet that is Life and Teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Then when he started reading slowly, his mind got started changing. By the time the city or the village came where he was supposed to get down, he got down. But by the time his mind had changed, he was in a suicidal mindset. He wanted to end his life. But by studying the life and teachings of Swami Vivekananda, what happened? He changed his life. He changed his mindset. He said, instead of ending my life, let me dedicate my life for the betterment of the society or to serve the society. And whatever afterwards we see, whatever the changes or the service attitude and etc. in the Anna Hazare's life, everything owes to Swami Vivekananda's life and teachings, which is nothing but Advaitic principles or the divinity principles. So when you read this Advaita Vedanta, what happens? It will not make you to get away or run away from the life, run away from the difficulties. Instead of that, we will face them and we will rise them. That's what Swami Vivekananda tells all that in a beautiful three words: face the brutes. It is based on Sankhya Yoga, that is Gita's second chapter. Klaibyam masma gamapartha naitatva yupabaddhate kshudram hruday daurbalyam taktva parantapa. Give away the chicken-heartedness and rise yourself, because that doesn't befit you. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, Swami Vivekananda says. And it is the essence of Vedanta also. So that the same idea has been given this in three word sentence: face the brutes. The brutes is not only the problem from external circumstances or with people, it can be with our own self, our own mindset, our own understanding, our own limited nature and whatnot. So we have to face ourselves, we have to face our attitude, we have to face our perceptions, and we have to face external things also. But by facing, one can rise by studying Advaita Vedanta, by studying the knowledge about the subject, that is, who am I? And elsewhere he tells very clearly, teach yourselves, teach everyone his real nature, call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and everything that is excellent will come when the sleeping soul is roused to self consciousness activity. When the sleeping soul is roused to self consciousness activity. That's what we can say. We can see in the Anna Hazare's life. And also, one more interesting story, probably I can tell you, is a Indian guy who was born and brought up in India, but he settled in US. He came into contact with Swami Adishwaranj in the New York, basically. His life was also had some problems, some positive sides and negative sides, and etc. But once he came into contact with our New York center and with Adishwaranji, and slowly started visiting the New York center and hearing Adishwaranji's talk, which is on Advaita Vedanta. Slowly, he writes a beautiful in a blog, probably. His mindset or his attitude, his perception about the life and about the reality, about the world and about the God, everything keeps on slowly, it changes. And instead of becoming a negative personality or negative mindset, he says that I became the positive mindset personality. And now I don't have any complaint. I am happy with the existing things. Again, this quote and unquote, existing things. His bank balance might not have changed, his problems might not have reduced, or his situations might have changed or might not have changed, but he has changed. Why? Because he has understood what is the reality or who am I according to him. And one more interesting point, if you see, by studying Vedanta, what will happen if you ask me? I would like to say that in just two words, you will travel from what to so what. What, so what. It looks very simple, and sometimes it can be a bit jokey also, but it has got a tremendous understanding. Mentor, oh, what did she say this? Oh, what did he say this? Oh, what did he do this? How can he do for me like this? She can do for me. All we keep on saying that. What? We express astonishment and all these things because there's a lot of tinge of strong reality, notion of reality. But so what? What to so what? Again, we don't neglect the things. We take up all the responsibilities and whatever we are supposed to do, we have to do it and we will do it, no doubt. But we don't get disturbed. Our mind doesn't get disturbed from all these things. That's what I mean to say. From what to so what. Just like simple example I can give you. Now you take a glass piece and you make a line on the wall. Then definitely, even if you want to rub it, it is not easy. Then probably you have to paint it or you have to put a small little thin layer of cement and you have to paint. Otherwise, that mark will not go. Now you take a small glass piece and you make a line on the wooden table. Then again, there is a mark, but by rubbing a bit little, putting some oil or whatever, wooden oil, it can reduce to larger extent. Then you draw a line on the water. In no time, or in few seconds, or in even a second, that goes away because it is not left like that. So when we are more worldly, when we are ignorant, and when we are, I mean, tossed between all these situations and which has become too real for all of us, then it is nothing but like drawing the line on the wall. Then you are getting more and more evolved and understanding things, but still you are helpless, but still you are able to understand. Sometimes you are able to control, sometimes you are not able to control. Then it is like drawing a line on the table. You understand things, you are able to put into practice the understanding. Things may not change, but again your reactions will change. That is like drawing the line on the water. One more interesting example which I can give is from the life of Swami Tyagishanji. He was a great monk, no doubt. He was a knower of Brahman. Many of the monks and brahmacharis and devotees, whoever has come into contact, they express that opinions. And I've written a small book in a Kannada about him. And his days or his spiritual life will teach you interestingly. And he was from a royal family. His forefathers were a princely state in a Travancore or in the Kerala, but he didn't care for all that. He was always inspired by Swami Vivekananda and Gandhi. He led a simple life and high thinking, and he did a lot of work. Whatever the today Trishur Ashrama we see, it is all because of his work. He created one big ashrama with a school and all. Then finally he handed over to ashram and he became a monk. Such a monk, when he was handed over and he was asked to take over that ashrama, he was doing its service, no doubt, with all care and etc. After some time, when because of his health reasons and other, Belur Math asked him to leave that and come to Chennai or come to Mysore. Again, he had built that ashrama before even joining, before becoming a monk. He had given that whole ashrama, and he was the first president, and he didn't bother. What will happen to this ashrama? Who will take care? Whether they will be able to take care it in a proper way, or whether they will improve, or they will spoil it? Nothing. When the headquarters asked, or the authorities asked, simply he left it, and he came back to Chennai or Mysore, and he never turned back. That's okay. And afterwards, he was taking spiritual classes for the brahmacharis in those days. Brahmacharis are monks in a study circle. Then after a few years, he was asked to take charge of the Bangalore ashram. Then he took the charge of the Bangalore ashram. He led his life, and his taking classes were very interesting. Then when he starts class for 2, 3, 4 hours, he used to take classes, it seems, because all scriptures were in his head. He never used to open the book or see the book. Just close the what do you say eyes and walking on the veranda. He used to take the class for brahmacharis and devotees, which used to run for 2, 3, 4 hours every day. And there's an interesting joke also in his life. Once he started Bhagavad Gita talk, and he took first word Dharmakshetre, and he gave for 3 to 6 months every week. I think 1 or 2 hours lecture. 6 months he gave a lecture on Dharmakshetra, one word itself. Then after 3 to 6 months over, one devotee came and asked, Swamiji, when will you start Kurukshetra? Because in Bhagavad Gita, first look, if you say Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Dharmakshetra itself 6 months over, still you are doing, then when will you start Kurukshetra? I mean, there was a funny, I mean, interesting joke in his life. Anyhow, such a monk, such a great scholarly monk and all. Then, when his fragment of his life, somehow he had got a tuberculosis. In those days, 1950s, tuberculosis didn't had really medicine in India. It was very difficult, and because of the tuberculosis, his joints and his bones and etc. started getting dislocated. And near Bangalore in Kolar, there was a one government hospital where tuberculosis was treated exclusively. Then he was taken there. Then tuberculosis was in advanced stage. They couldn't really do much, and because of the tuberculosis and because of the effect of disease, if even if it turns the other side, there were a fear of dislocating the joints, either shoulder joint or the knee or whatever the body parts. As a result, most of his body portion was what do you say, plaster of Paris. Using the plaster of Paris, his body was covered so that let the joints not be dislocated. So such a terrific pain is there, suffering is there, but he's lying down and he's calm. The one monk who I had a privilege to see him, who served him, he narrated this experience. I mean, the monk said, by seeing him itself, we can understand very clearly he had a lot of pain, but he never even cried or never expressed pain, and his mind or in his face, it was always calmness. Even turning was difficult, but still in that time, in that point of time, he was happy, he was blissful, and his face was always shining with happiness and bliss and peace, whatnot. Then after a few days, one fine day, he said, look, the Upanishadic mantras I am able to see in a golden letters. So this is what the Rishi's Anubhava, the Rishi's experience. In the Upanishads, we can see all this. So when your mind goes to the very highest level, you can experience these mantras. Even these mantras can be revealed for you. There are particular references in Swami Vivekananda's life also, different way. So Swami Tyagishanji also, before his passing away, he's saying that he's saying that I'm suffering from tuberculosis, I've got a pain, and I'm not able to remember this, or I'm not able to remember that. No. He's telling that I am able to see that Upanishadic mantras in golden letters. Even at that, I mean, deathbed, and Maharaj was in tears. I mean, the attendant Maharaj. Then slowly he was remembering that mantras. He slowly, with a calmness and enjoy, I mean, with bliss on his face, being a blissful nature, he left his body. Now, that type of death, how it is possible, why it is possible? Because he was very clear, and he was he had very clear understanding and experience probably that I am the self, not the body, not the mind, not the thoughts, not the intellect, and not my achievements. So this is called fear of death, which is called abhinivesha. The greatest fear for all of us. Either you are a celebrity, you are a millionaire, or you are a president of America, United States, or Ireland, but still we all fear for death. But even one can get away from this fear from death or fear of death by studying Advaita Vedanta, by putting into practice. That's what we can see in the life of Swami Tyagishanji. And Swami Vivekananda himself had said, I will not see my 40th year. That means he had already planned when will I leave, as if we plan for our trip. Swami Vivekananda also had a planned his trip to leave this mortal coil. So by studying Advaita Vedanta, one can be very happy. And Swami Vivekananda says, and why are we suffering? When we study all these philosophies, when we understand these philosophies and the great truths, but still we suffer. We undergo a lot of problems, etc. I mean, mental problems, I mean to say. So, what is the reason? Swami Vivekananda says, we commit evil because we are weak, and we are weak because we are ignorant. And I prefer to call them mistakes instead of evil. We ourselves have put our hands over our eyes and weep that it is dark. Take the hands away over your eyes, and there is a light. The light existed always for us, the self effulgent nature of the human soul. Do you not hear what your modern scientific men say? What is the cause of evolution? Desire. The animal wants to do something but does not find the environment favorable and therefore develops a new body. Who develops it? The animal itself, its will. You have developed from the lowest amoeba. Amoeba. Continue to exercise your will and it will take you higher still. The will is almighty. If it is almighty, you may say, why cannot I do everything? But you are thinking only of your little self. Look back on yourselves from the state of the amoeba to the human being. Who made all that? Your own will. Can you deny then it is Almighty? That which has made you come so high can make you go higher still. What you want is character and strengthening of the will. Now, why are we suffering if you ask? Swami Vivekananda is saying that one is action, karma theory is there, karma doctrine is there. More than that, because we have closed our eyes or we have put our hands on our eyes and we are saying that we are crying that there is a dark and there is a dark. The moment you remove your hands, then we just will be able to see a light in and around us. Similarly, we have covered ourselves with a wrong notion. I am the body, I am the mind, I am so and so, with all the limiting agents, and I am thinking I am limited, I am weak, and I am ignorant, and etc. And I am suffering. So just take away your hand from the eyes, you can see the light. So remove this ignorance, remove the wrong notion, then you can be happy and blissful at all times. Now the question may come, yeah, fine, but how to do that? Swami Vivekananda says, intense desire, intense will. Desire to become better, desire to become happy, desire to be happy, desire to be free. So that desire has made from amoeba to human being. That gradual evolution has happened from amoeba to human being. That is because desire, which has been manifested in the form of will. That desire, that will, even it is hidden in all of us, then why not we can express in a still highest will or higher will? That is experiencing the self, or removing the ignorance, or removing the misconception or understanding. By that, what happens? Build up your character and manifest your real nature, the effulgent, the resplendent, the ever pure, and call it up it in everyone that you see. I wish that every one of us had come to such a state that even in the vilest of human beings, we could see the real self within. And instead of condemning them, say, rise, thou effulgent one, rise, thou who are always pure, rise, thou birthless and deathless, rise, Almighty, and manifest your true nature. These little manifestations do not befit you. This is the highest prayer that the Advaita teaches. This is the one prayer to remember our true nature, the God who is always within us, thinking of it always as infinite, and etc. And why do you think of all limitations, which is bereft of limitations? Again, Swami Vivekananda is very clear that we don't have really limitations, but we are thinking that we are bound by, we are circled by limitations. That is a wrong notion, ignorance. Technically, in Advaita Vedanta, it is called adhyasa. Adhyasa means atasmin tadbuddhi. Whatever it is not, I am thinking it is. Simple example, rope never breaks, snake never dies in Advaita Vedanta. The rope and snake. So there is only actually rope, but because of ignorance, because of some reasons, I am seeing that as a snake and I'm getting frightened, and my heartbeat got increased, my pulse rate got increased, and I started getting sweat, and I started crying or shouting and screaming and whatnot. Then someone came to our rescue and they said, oh, there is only rope, not the snake. Then, though it took some amount of time to understand for us, the moment when we understand all these reactions, whatever was existing, everything got crumbled down or everything got nullified, and I'm happy. So, really, was there snake? No. There was always rope only, but because I was mistaking the rope as a snake, that was a reaction. These were the beautiful example given by Advaita Vedanta. So there is only Brahman and Brahman alone. There is a self and self alone. There is a consciousness and consciousness alone, actually. There is nothing else. But because of wrong notion, just we are mistaking the rope as a self, rope as a snake. We are mistaking the consciousness as the this world with full of limitations and with this full of dualities, and we are suffering. And again, simple example is what? Dream example. Dream example. You get a wonderful dream where you went to some interesting place, you had a fun and all fine, and sometimes you had a terrible or terrific dream experience. No, both are not real. And when you come out from that, if you're a good dream, you may enjoy for some time, then but still you don't give any value because it's a dream. Similarly, if it's a terrible dream, again it doesn't have any value because it is a dream. But when you are in a dream state, you are experiencing it and your mind is reacting to it. And for example, you got a terrific experience that you are going in the forest, then a tiger or a lion is chasing you, you are running and you are gasping. And when you get up from the sleep, even your heartbeat might be, as a reaction, might have been increased, and you might have sweat and you might have screamed even. But it takes some time, no doubt. But once you come out, you will understand that that was only a dream. It was an imagination. It was not real. Just like, because when you are in the dream, you don't understand, we don't understand it is a dream. When you come out from the dream state to the waking state, so called, then we understand it is a dream and it doesn't have any reality. And the Mandukya Upanishad says, even the so called waking state is also a like, just like one more dream. The moment when you understand it, when you accept it, then it doesn't change you, or it doesn't bring any effect on you. Then you can be happy at all given point of time. Things may not change, but you will change. That's what Swami Vivekananda is saying. Advaita Vedanta is saying. Now, one more interesting experience which I see. Again, he's also one more Westerner. Just for privacy's sake, I would not like to tell his answer. I mean, his name. He tells, when the question was asked, "What did Advaita Vedanta brought a change in you, or how did you get a benefit by studying Advaita Vedanta?" He says, "It filled the void which was in me, which I was suffering from long time. The void, it filled that voidness, and I accepted the change." And but I accepted the change, but I became changeless. See, it filled the void which was in me, and I accepted the change. By accepting the change, I became changeless. Again, these are very small sentences, but it speaks a lot actually. It speaks few books actually. We can think and we can meditate on this. So there was a void in me. By studying Vedanta, it filled it, and I accepted the change, probably the change in the world. But by accepting that, I became changeless. I became, in the sense, means I understood I'm the changeless, that is what, self or Brahman or whatever. So like this, many people's mind has changed, many people's life has changed, many people's attitude and perception has changed by studying Advaita Vedanta. And by studying Advaita Vedanta, Swami Vivekananda says, what fear as evil for him? So, if we are Advaitis, we must think from this moment that our old self is dead and gone. The old Mr. or Mrs. and Miss so and so are gone. They were mere superstitions. And what remains is that ever pure, the ever strong, the almighty, and the all knowing, that alone remains for us. And then all fear vanishes from us. Who can injure us? And our only work is to arouse this knowledge in our fellow beings. We see that they too are the same pure self, only they do not know it. We must teach them, we must help them to rouse up their infinite nature. This is what I feel to be absolutely necessary all over the world. So, by studying Vedanta, one can get away from these problems, and it is our duty to help the world by teaching these lofty ideals. Swami Vivekananda tells very clearly. And one more interesting, reminiscences or experiences by a devotee, he says that by studying Advaita Vedanta, he or she says, it removed my ignorance, that is, I am bound, and I started feeling I am free. Just that thought gave me immense joy. All worries started to vanish automatically, and there was no suffering. Now, again, this devotee is saying very clearly, I have not experienced, but intellectual conviction has happened. Intellectual conviction is occurred, no doubt. He's saying that by studying Advaita Vedanta, when I started believing in it, what happened? It removed my ignorance that I am so and so, I am body, mind, intellect, or whatever. It removed my ignorance, that is, I am bound. Okay. I started feeling, not experiencing, just feeling, I am free. And just that one thought, simple thought, gave me immense joy, and all worries started to vanish automatically. No more suffering. Then imagine, if you start, if he or she, or if I, all of you, all of us, if we start experiencing this non-dualistic truth, what changes can bring us? Just mere conviction that I am not bound, I am not this body, I am the self. Just mere conviction in that principle, or this great lofty ideal, it brought a great change in the devotee's mind. He's saying that all my worries started dissolving and to vanish automatically, and no more suffering, no more reactions. This is the efficacy of Advaita Vedanta. When we when we keep on, when we study Advaita Vedanta, then what happens? This is what it happens. Well, we hear many times people say, including me, of course, like when we read, when we study, when we think, all of them fine. But after some time, when we get into our life, then again some problems come, some situations will come, and again we are back to pavilion. Yes, it may be. But first step when we start, it will be that. Then 5, 10 times we have heard this, we have put into practice in our own level, and we might have gone back. We think that, but when we have gone back, it is not the same level we have entered or gone back, but definitely there will be some improvement. So we have to keep on hitting our mind with that Vedantic hammer, or other words, I can say spiritual radiation. We have got chemotherapy, like that we got spiritual therapy, spiritual radiation. I am the self, I am the self, I am the self. We should keep on hitting our mind with this Vedantic hammer or spiritual radiation. So in due course of time, slowly, our understandings becomes solidified or crystallized. The more and more it gets solidified, and the lesser reaction will be to the world. Things may not change, people may not change, but I will be changed. Again, they may affect us, no doubt. But you can remember the example. Initially, when I drew a lawn with a glass piece on the wall, then afterwards it was on the table, then slowly on the water. So the effect, the residue is definitely, it is different. That's what, when you study Advaita Vedanta and when you start putting into practice, when you keep on progressing in the lofty ideals, slowly there will be change. There will be change in reaction. So we have to understand. So this is what practical Vedanta. So our application of Vedanta in life, what change can bring. So I will travel from what to so what. May Swami Vivekananda bless all of us to understand more and more and to put into practice, so that let us be happy at all times. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.